Hey everybody, back with another unboxing. This is the Meizu M6 Note. So I'm probably a little bit late with this. I believe the M6 Note came out at least a month ago. This is, I think, the bigger, more powerful version of this, the Meizu M6, which I did a video on about 2 months ago. I made the video in Korea, I remember, and this, for a budget device, it was really good. So unboxing. This is probably a pretty bare bones packaging because other than this flagship Pro series, Meizu's boxes are usually pretty plain. The Pro 7 though, that was like a beautiful box. So you have a SIM ejector tool here. Okay, so instruction booklets. So you have a cable that is it USB-C? No, it is not USB-C. This phone still uses USB 3.0, so USB-A. Right here you have a charging brick. Yep, that's it. So no earphones, no screen protector, no case, none of that usual stuff you might get from other Chinese device. But you know, Meizu phones, they have really clean software for a Chinese device, so I think it's okay. You don't get a lot of the bonus here. Okay, I'm liking this matte black feel. I like it much better than the silverback. You know me, I'm always a fan of black phones. So let's get to my favorite part, peeling the front. So unfortunately, as you can see, it's still a pretty dated bezel look. Like the top and bottom bezels, these are by, you know, whatever today is, December 7th, 2017. It's quite dated, but ignoring that, really nice looking phone. So the material on the Note seems to be metal compared to the M6, which this is not metal. It actually feels and looks like metal, but it's not. It's actually plastic with a special coating that, I gotta say, it's pretty high end. So this here, it's really metal though. So the phone kind of looks like the Meizu Pro 7, except it doesn't have that second display on the back. Okay, so I'm gonna play with the phone a little bit, set it up, I'll be back. Hey everybody, I'm back. So I've used the Meizu M6 Note for about 2 hours, so here are some quick impressions. First, let's get the price and specs out of the way because these things matter. So this phone right now costs about 160 US dollars. For this price, you get a 5.5 inch 1080 by 1920 resolution LCD panel, so it's about 1080p. And you get Snapdragon 625 processor, so even though it's not the newest Snapdragon, it's probably a little bit better than the MediaTek MT6757 chipsets that I usually have on my other budget phones. You have a 4000 milliamp battery inside it, so that's probably one of the biggest selling point. 4000 milliamp battery, so this phone will definitely last you an entire day. And 12 megapixel camera on the back with a dual second camera. That's 5 megapixels, and then you have a 16 megapixel selfie camera too. So in terms of RAM, the phone comes with either 3 or 4 gigs of RAM and either 32 or 64 gigs of internal storage. So this review unit I have here, it's a 32 gig storage with 3 gigs of RAM. So it's not the highest, not the top tier. The top tier one would probably add like 20 bucks to it. It's like 180 bucks. So first things first, like it has to be said that this display, it's a little bit dated, especially when you compare it to, I'm not even going to compare it to like a Samsung Galaxy Note 8 or something, but even compared to another budget device right here, this is the Meizu Alpha, which can be had for about 180 bucks. So it's a budget device in the same price range, and you look at the two phones and it's night and day. I mean, you can put them side by side and it's basically the same size. The Meizu Alpha X is a little bit taller, but it's the same riff, same feel in hand, except you get a lot more screen. Now, to be clear, This phone is made by Meizu, and Meizu is not an official Google partner, so these phones tend to even though they're cheap, they might not be that reliable. Whereas Meizu, they are an official Google partner, so even though the design might be a little bit dated, this phone, it's like a legit phone that's a little bit more trustworthy than if you buy like a Blueboo or a Liego. You know, nothing against those companies, but it is what it is, you know. So once you overlook those bezels, this design's actually really good. You have a power button / fingerprint reader that's very clicky, and Meizu actually uses this to navigate within the phone, which I'll show you really quick. So for example, you tap on a button to go back, or you press on the button to go up. So you have one button that does the job of both the circle button and the triangle button, the home and the back. And then to get more overview of all your apps, so you swipe up. So now if you do this, that means you lose some of the Android functionality, such as double tapping on a square button to jump back and forth between apps, or dual screen mode. But you're able to turn that on. Go into settings. There is actually an option to bring on-screen navigation buttons. So when you bring on-screen navigation buttons, then you have the 3 Android buttons again. So other than this nice button here that I actually quite like, Meizu calls it M back. The back, as mentioned, it's a full metal design. I love this matte black feel, although it's surprisingly attracting fingerprint, which is rare for a metal phone. I like that the camera, there's no protrusion, there's no camera bump, although this phone is kind of thick. This is a flat panel, but it feels pretty smooth right here on the edges. It's not sharp like on the Vivo V7 Plus, where like when you run my finger through it, it's a little bit sharp. So there's a little bit of a like smoothness around where the display panel meets the frame of the phone. So craftsmanship is really good for 180 bucks, completely top notch, other than the top 2 bezels. But let's get into why I'm actually a pretty big fan of Meizu phones, because I think the software is actually quite useful. Now, I don't like that there's no app drawer. I prefer an app drawer, but otherwise, little things that Meizu adds actually is useful, and it's not annoying. For example, I like this home button, the home button that doubles as the back and the home. I like it. And also little things, if you go into settings, there's a lot of customization. So under gestures, wake up, you see that if you clap into here, I'm able to, for example, double tap on the screen to wake up the device. You can slide down to open your notification shade, and you can switch songs by swiping left and sliding left and right. And this is on when the phone is off, so that means I can turn on the display by double tapping, or I can slide down on it to see the notification and display toggle. So as you can see, fingerprint reader is super fast, and this is one of my favorite things about Meizu phones. It's you can draw alphabets to launch specific app. So in here, I've set it so you can draw a C to open the camera, or draw an M to open the calculator. And you see I can choose other apps. So I can have M to open Toolbox, or open Google Play, Google Photos, whatever. So let's give it a try really quick. So if I draw C, that will open the camera. You see, like, it opened relatively fast, like not immediate, but it's fast enough. You can draw an M to open the calculator. Now, okay, I need to unlock my fingerprint reader because it's an app that requires to go into the phone. So there are just a lot of these little shortcut gestures. So I can set double press home button to do either launch the camera or play music. Or on the home screen, you can bring down notification shade by swiping anywhere on the screen. This is something that I think every phone maker should do. It really annoys me when I have to swipe all the way from the top. It's just easier, isn't it, to do this? So speaking of the camera, you go into the camera app. I covered this in the M6 review. Pretty useful camera. You have up here, you have different modes. So you have a manual control, slow motion video, panorama, time lapse, makeup, which is beauty mode, and Meizu's beauty mode is actually pretty decent. You have this is dual lens blur, which is bokeh effect, and I actually took some bokeh, so I will show you later. HDR mode, and you have filters. So jumping in and out of bokeh mode actually slows down the phone. Like there's a little bit delay after that, but when it's not on, it's actually pretty fast. So now let's check out video resolution and all that. So photos, you are able to shoot all the way up to 4000 by 300 resolution. That's 12 megapixels. That's using the photo completely full size. Now in terms of video, you are actually able to shoot in 4K resolution. So right here, I have 1080p set as default. I have 4K resolution. So let's check out the 4K video recording really quick. So 4K recording Meizu M6 Note. So this is 4K recording. So you see, the video is a little bit bumpy. In 4K resolution, there is no OIS. So you notice the video had a little bit of trouble picking out lighting after I zoomed. Now let's check out 1080p video. So now this is a standard 1080p recording with the Meizu M6 Note. Okay, so this is disappointing. There is no OIS even in 1080p. You notice when I walk, that was kind of blurry. But right now, zooming in, 3.7 zoom, it looks pretty clean. A little bit blurry on the sign. Okay, so video recording details is good, except the lighting's a little bit dark and there is no OIS. But now let's take a look at photos. I'm impressed by this camera. So right here, now apologies for this stupid watermark down at the bottom. This phone comes out of the box with this watermark, but you can turn it off in settings. So this is a really nice shot. Right? Check out the dynamic range of the cars down below and the details in this building. This is an impressive shot for a phone that's 180 bucks. And then now you check out other shots right here. So right here, the sky is a little bit overexposed, but otherwise you have good details. Even when you crop all the way in, you can read this Chinese sign pretty accurately. And then right here, this is shot with HDR, and you notice the color. It's a lot more punchier and dynamic, right? Although it looks a little bit fake, like it looks a little bit processed, but it's a pleasing shot. It looks like you put a filter on it on Instagram or something. So now this is a selfie. This is selfie under normal shooting mode, and this is a selfie with beauty mode. I mean, look at the difference. It's kind of scary, right? So this is me with the eye wrinkles, dark eye circles, and you know, bad skin. I used to have acne as a teen, and then now you scoot over, I look like a Barbie doll. It looks fake, but you know, a lot of people like that. If you go on Chinese social media, a lot of people have these type of selfies up there. So let's look at more photos. This is a bokeh shot, and I thought the effect turned out really good. So look at the blur. It actually went around the cat okay. Even the little fine details right here on the back, it kind of digs into it a little bit, but not too bad. So overall, this is a pleasing shot. The blur in the back, it's quite believable. And it knew not to blur this pole right here, which was next to the cat. So now this is another shot. Again, same thing, really good. It's not quite on the level of the iPhone 10 or like the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 in terms of bokeh, but it's nice. So let's look at a couple more photos. This is Chinese Cantonese roast grill. I love this. And right here, this is cha siu with siu yolk, barbecue pork and roast pork. So the photo's a little bit kind of dull in terms of colors, but it's a very nicely detailed shot. It looks good. So there are just little other software touches about this phone that I like too. For example, I like that when you move apps across the screen, you can just kind of throw the app over. So watch. See how I just kind of threw it over? I just threw it over to the next screen. Now, this is kind of useful because on a phone like an iPhone, I'm just so damn annoyed with moving apps around on an iPhone. It's such a hassle. So I have to like hold on to it. I have to hold on for like 2 seconds and wait for it to move, and then I have to like bring it over like this. If I even let it go a little bit earlier, it doesn't go over. Like this happens to me all the time when I'm trying to move apps. So let's check out the video test. So this is an LCD panel, so colors aren't going to be as punchy and crisp as you would get on flagship. But you know, again, I shouldn't even compare this to flagship. So this is a Macau, I believe. So yeah, 50% volume. Let's go to 100% volume right now. So this speaker is actually really loud. You can't really muffle even when you put your finger over it, but it's definitely just a single firing speaker, so this is not a stereo setup. The only complaint I have is the top and bottom bezels. If not for the bezels, if this phone was a slim bezel phone for 180 bucks metal unibody, I would say definitely purchase. But if you don't mind the bezels, this is still a good buy. But man, that fingerprint is looking kind of bad. Let me wipe it down a bit. I think it's because I was eating that Chinese barbecue pork, so that was greasy. So that left the back a little bit dirty. Apologies for that. So this is the Meizu M6 Note, 160, 170 bucks. Pretty good value. Thanks for watching.